Hello. If you're hearing this, that means you have an early copy of my work, and today I'll be talking about directors. I mean, I could talk about these fuckers for dozens of minutes. They're all essentially disturbed lottery winners, but they all have a little bit of a unique magic that makes sense why they're picked up by the masses. But you know what? That's exactly why I'm here today. I'll be talking about my top 3 favorite directors, and starting off, number 1, Stanley Kubrick, which is to me even weird as he's just a relic of the past. When it comes to Kubrick, he existed in his own world with his own vision and his own sense of reality. I always thought his movies were off because of the fact that they're old, but when directed by this geriatric nutcase, even the most amazing actors find themselves looping through whatever parallel dimension is going through Kubrick's mind. The movies are in a place that I'd like to call the uncanny valley. The actors' decisions, dialogue, and mannerisms all mimic real-life human behavior quite accurately, but there's always something off. Like if you were in the room, you could feel a sudden weight. I can't tie a number to his movies, as rating something like A Clockwork Orange would feel insulting to its purpose. It's a glimpse into something not of this world. Why would you attach a number to it? For the longest time, he was my favorite for simply Full Metal Jacket. Make no mistake though, it's an evil movie. One of the only war movies that I can stomach. And what I love about it is how American soldiers in Vietnam are displayed objectively. They're boys. Boys sent by their men to kill other boys and girls. The difference being that American soldiers raised guns unaware of why they were pulling the trigger, while it was the Viet Cong who were aware that their way of life was being treaded upon by organic drones. Vietnam, during its war with the United States, was already another world that would leave a permanent pit in the stomach of any witness. And when seeing it through the lens of Kubrick, it leaves me feeling like I never had a stomach to begin with. No, I'm kidding, it's not that serious. These movies are old, and to gain that level of immersion, you probably have to do something like Acid, something that Kubrick accounted for given some choice endings. Favorite movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I even watched it recently because I knew it was going to be my favorite movie, and rest assured, it is. It is also not a good movie to show to friends. It is a slow watch. It is a movie for the patient, and it is a movie where dialogue isn't a thing. I love that. I love when movies put dialogue in the background, where what is being shown is really important, and that's why I like Kubrick, because every single frame, it's been said before, it's practically a painting, a picture, a work of art in itself. Number 2, Martin Scorsese. And yeah, ladies, I know, I got a thing for old Marty, but why should I? The man mainly makes movies surrounding egocentric characters that are actually a little ways below an anti-hero. Practically none of the people who watch these movies can relate to the lifestyles the characters display, and honestly, you could never ask at one point in the movie, hey, what would you do if you were that character? Because the answer is always going to be, fuck no, the dudes make all the wrong decisions. But the genius is how they're honestly just acting like people. What makes Scorsese so brilliant is how he's always able to capture the slippery slope into rock bottom that literally everybody is capable of. Whether the path began due to greed, lust, or envy, Scorsese depicts man in his purest form, flawed. In fact, the man directed my favorite film of all time, Taxi Driver. And look, there are tons of Taxi Driver analysis. And if you want a tad too long analysis from me on it, let me know. But to capture what I love about the film in as brief words as possible, I like to make the claim that Travis Bickle's behavior is likely some form of autism, and at the time of recording, such a thing wasn't really heard of, meaning the writer of the movie, Paul Schrader, likely drew inspiration from the mannerisms of a person they knew in real life, which is why this movie feels so authentic. Travis's entire dilemma is that he doesn't fit in. He thinks he can feel normal through the pursuit of women, but that only makes him feel more isolated in his conquest for affection. A real woman rejects him, and he goes as low as to find a shred of validity from a young girl. Travis is helpless, and that's why he tried to assassinate the president. And I'm already getting long-winded, but allow me to finish this with a joke. The actual reason why I love this movie is because Ronald Reagan was shot over it. And number 3, David Fincher, who made my second favorite film, which we will get into that. And look, this is also weird, because his resume is primarily based around the fact how he just kicks ass at visual effects. I don't know why. You'd think the best person to do it would be like 24, but man, this guy just has the most experience ever, and his filmography is just as solid. He tries to make big movies with all types of layers, but the way they stack is just iconically Fincher. The script itself is typically from different writers, and their style is most seen throughout the movie, something I incredibly respect, but I'm also torn about. I admire those who both write and direct, as I believe writing is simply the soul of a movie. But for Fincher to preserve the writer's vision and add his technological skills into the direction of the film, that alone warrants the number 2 spot. And favorite movie? Fight Club. Yes, I know, but only because it's a ruthless critique of capitalism from the perspective of the utmost beneficiary. And even those who engage within the system will still feel the cold thumb of the chain of command that ever slow slightly presses outside the spinal column within your neck, to the point where every time you move your head, you're reminded of it as it causes the slightest sense of irritation that can temporarily be forgotten only through the petty sensations of television, consumption, and blah 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 blah. But to permanently remove the thumb, one must completely get rid of the possessions that were given to them by the other 4 fingers of the hand. It's a dark comedy, but in a way that doesn't leave you feeling cloudy, just anxiously waiting for an excuse to laugh. The comedy is witty, the twist is interesting, and yes, the visual effects are amazing, especially for the 90s. I mean, can you believe this guy also made The Curious Case of Benjamin Button? Well, that's the top 3. Keep in mind, this is just a demo. I'll probably recycle some of this dialogue and make a video about each director and do a play-by-play of their discography. Anyways, thanks for watching. Psych! Honorable mentions: Paul Thomas Anderson, Christopher Nolan, and me one day. Decent mentions: Spike Lee, Quentin Tarantino. I know they're gonna hate being together. Edgar Wright. George Lucas. Dishonorable mentions: M. Night Shyamalan.